At first glance, Billy Butcher and Homelander seem like opposites. One is a grizzled, morally ambiguous human, fueled by hatred and revenge. The other is a superhuman, near-invincible icon of perfection and power. But when you look closer, the similarities between them are striking. Despite their differences in abilities, appearance, and public perception, Butcher and Homelander are mirrors of each other. Broken individuals shaped by trauma, driven by desire for control, and unable to process their emotions in a healthy way. In many ways, they are the same person, split across two extremes of the same psychological spectrum. Both Butcher and Homelander are defined by loss. Butcher's hatred for superheroes stems from the personal loss of his wife, Becca. That trauma consumes him, shaping his every action, driving his obsession with vengeance. Homelander, on the other hand, was deprived of human connection from birth. He never had a family, never had love, and was raised in a laboratory environment devoid of care. Both experiences result in deep psychological scars. Butcher's loss fuels deliberate, targeted aggression, while Homelander's deprivation fuels reactive, unpredictable violence. Yet at the core, both operate from the same place: brokenness that seeks to assert control over a world that has denied them stability, security, and love. Another point of similarity is their obsession with control. Butcher manipulates people, situations, and events to achieve his goals. He plots meticulously, understands human psychology, and exploits weaknesses to his advantage. Homelander, too, is obsessed with control, but in a more absolute way. His power is limitless, and he demands unquestioned loyalty and admiration. Every public appearance, every heroic act, every interaction is carefully designed to maintain his dominance. Both men are driven by the need to impose their will on their environments, to ensure they are never powerless again. While Butcher relies on strategy and cunning, Homelander relies on raw power. Yet psychologically, they are operating from the same fundamental principle: control as a defense mechanism against vulnerability. Both characters also exhibit profound emotional fragility beneath their hardened exteriors. Butcher hides his pain behind anger, sarcasm, and bravado. Homelander hides his emptiness behind charisma, heroism, and invincibility. In private moments, both reveal the vulnerability they cannot otherwise express. Butcher is haunted by memories of Becca, guilt, and the fear of loss. Homelander is haunted by isolation, loneliness, and the inability to experience genuine connection. Their public personas are facades designed to mask the internal chaos they feel. This emotional fragility drives much of their behavior, manifesting in violence, manipulation, and obsessive actions. Morality, or the lack thereof, is another parallel. Butcher operates in shades of gray. He believes he is justified in his actions because of the wrongs done to him and the world, yet he often crosses ethical lines, harming innocents along the way. Homelander, by contrast, operates without a conventional moral compass. His decisions are guided not by right and wrong, but by self-interest, desire for admiration, and emotional impulses. Both, however, act outside traditional morality because of trauma. Their actions, whether human or superhuman, are filtered through personal experience and psychological need rather than a structured ethical framework. In essence, both have been shaped by circumstances that bypass the development of normal moral reasoning. Both Butcher and Homelander also struggle with identity. Butcher's sense of self is defined by his mission, his hatred, and his loss. Homelander's sense of self is defined by performance, public perception, and the validation he craves. Both are hollow in some way: Butcher emotionally, Homelander emotionally and socially. Both are dependent on external factors to define their significance: Butcher on his mission and vengeance, Homelander on public admiration and fear. This dependency highlights their similarities. Without their respective frameworks, both would be lost, unmoored, and unable to navigate the world in a meaningful way. The dynamic between the two also emphasizes how alike they are. On the surface, they are adversaries. Butcher targets Homelander because of what he represents. Homelander resents Butcher for daring to defy him. But their conflict is as much a reflection of their similarities as it is of their differences. Both seek validation, both respond to threats with disproportionate force, and both operate from trauma-induced compulsion. Their confrontations are not just battles of power or ideology. They are clashes of mirrors, each reflecting what the other could be if circumstances were different. Even their relationships with others reveal parallels. Butcher manipulates and uses people as means to an end, often disregarding their well-being to achieve his goals. Homelander does the same, albeit with more raw force. He craves loyalty and admiration, but only on his terms. Both demonstrate an inability to form truly reciprocal, healthy relationships. The people around them are either pawns, obstacles, or sources of validation. This similarity highlights a psychological truth. Regardless of power level, trauma shapes behavior in consistent ways. The human or superhuman distinction does not change the underlying psychological patterns. Power also shapes the expression of their brokenness. Butcher's lack of superhuman abilities means his actions are grounded in strategy, cunning, and relentless pursuit. Homelander's limitless abilities amplify the same impulses. Where Butcher might psychologically intimidate, Homelander physically dominates. Where Butcher manipulates and plots, Homelander enforces and obliterates. Yet in both cases, the driving forces, trauma, emotional fragility, obsession, and emptiness, are identical. Homelander is, in many ways, Butcher with absolute power. Butcher is Homelander's human reflection, showing what he could be without superhuman capabilities, grounded in a reality that limits his reach. Both characters also grapple with obsession. Butcher obsesses over revenge and justice for personal loss. Homelander obsesses over perception, loyalty, and supremacy. These obsessions are attempts to fill the void within. The intensity of their focus, whether human or superhuman, is a symptom of emotional deprivation. Both seek to externalize their internal turmoil, projecting it onto the world around them. Their obsessions, in essence, are coping mechanisms, strategies to survive a reality that threatens their sense of self and emotional stability. Furthermore, both Butcher and Homelander are defined by extremes. Butcher's emotions, morality, and actions are pushed to their limits. Homelander's power, control, and influence are limitless, and his emotional extremes are magnified by his abilities. Both reflect a fundamental truth. When broken individuals are placed under extreme circumstances, trauma, power, loss, their similarities become more apparent. The difference is one of scale, not of substance. The core psychological patterns remain the same, demonstrating that at heart, Butcher and Homelander are cut from the same cloth. Even their flaws mirror each other. Butcher's rigidity, obsession, and inability to trust mirror Homelander's need for control, validation, and control. Both are trapped by their experiences, unable to break free from cycles of behavior rooted in trauma. The critical difference is opportunity and amplification. Butcher's humanity limits the consequences of his actions, while Homelander's powers remove those limits. But the psychological roots are identical. Both are products of broken systems, emotional deprivation, and unprocessed trauma. Both are, in essence, the same person functioning under different conditions. Finally, their stories reflect the consequences of unhealed trauma, combined with circumstance. Butcher channels his brokenness into a lifelong vendetta, creating structure and purpose around loss and hatred. Homelander channels his brokenness into control and spectacle, using power to fill an emotional void that cannot be satisfied. Both are tragic figures as much as they are terrifying. Both demonstrate how the same core psychological patterns can manifest differently depending on environment, ability, and opportunity. Trauma, obsession, and emotional fragility create similar individuals in fundamentally different bodies and circumstances. Ultimately, the comparison between Butcher and Homelander teaches us that evil, power, and morality are not always about choices. They are about psychological roots. Two individuals can emerge from brokenness in ways that seem entirely opposite, yet their core motivations, patterns, and needs are identical. Trauma, deprivation, and obsession shape behavior in predictable ways. Whether expressed through human cunning or superhuman dominance, the underlying psychology is the same. Butcher and Homelander are, at heart, the same person, broken, reactive, and defined by the emotional voids that guide every decision they make. Understanding this similarity reframes our perception of both characters. Butcher is not merely a grizzled human anti-hero. He is a reflection of what Homelander could have been in human form. Homelander is not merely an untouchable superhuman. He is an amplified version of human psychological patterns pushed to their extremes. Both highlight the dangerous consequences of trauma, left unresolved, emotional needs denied, and obsession left unchecked. By analyzing them side by side, we see that the human and the superhuman are not as different as they appear. They are two sides of the same broken coin.